ready to go. On the Fan, New York Sports Radio. Mike's on, Mike's on. He'll get you the sports any way that he can. It's Mike Francesa on the Fan. Sports Radio 66 and 101.9 FM, WFAN.
From the studios of WFAN, this is Mike's on Francesa on the Fan on this last day of the month of May. It hasn't been a great weather month. Sometimes May is. It wasn't this year, but we say goodbye on this 31st day. NBA Finals begin tonight, and it is a very sad commentary when there is more interest in where LeBron James plays next year than there is in the NBA Finals. But that's what we have as we open the finals up this evening. Love will play, as you heard. Iguodala won't play. That does even things up a smidge, but not nearly enough to where you would take this series very, very seriously. And the only way you will, see, in this series, America is not going to pay attention. Now, I don't mean the diehard. I'm talking about America. America is not going to pay attention till the Cavaliers win a game in the series. Until they win again, if it's game 4, no one's going to care by then. See, it's a race to 3. If the Warriors get 3 before the Cavs get 1, then America's already tuned out. And you can increase the intensity by what game the Cavs win in the first 3. If they get it the first game, well, the intensity will ratchet up enormously. The second game, it will still be there, especially build towards game 3. If it doesn't happen until game 3, at least that would cause a little bit of tension to move back into the series. And after game 3, they know it's just one for the cosmetic and one for the for the ledger, so that they go back and win it in a game, back and forth, win it where they want to win it and celebrate and do things like that. And then you start thinking about who's prolonging what in the series. But once it gets to 3-love, who cares? So that's where we are as we get ready to play this series. And let's be honest. I mean, this is the most lopsided series in terms of odds that we've had in 17 years. The number's 2. That's really the prediction. I haven't seen anybody pick the Cavaliers, and if they are, not anybody to take seriously pick the Cavaliers. And the question is, can the Cavaliers win 2 games in the series? That's really what it comes down to. Can they win 2? Because, even if it gets to 3-love, if it gets to 3-2, they've still become a thorn in the side. So that's, and we've seen that happen. Even in the past, we've seen that happen. But that's the only way. They have to win 2 to make it anything that you stamp other than it just being a formality. And, it can't be 2-0. If it's 2-0, no one's going to take it seriously. I mean, maybe they'll drop in for game 3 and say, okay, let me see if you can, get this one back. That's where we are right now. I mean, I didn't want to see this series. LeBron, got a lot of attention, got a lot of recognition, if he needed it, with the win in Boston. It just furthered the image, the 48-point game, everything he did, the whole thing. So it did further the image if it needed to be moved anywhere farther down the road. But from that standpoint, what you didn't want was you didn't want this. You did not want a one-sided final. Now, Boston wouldn't have beaten them. They might have taken Boston more lightly. They might have, Boston with the way it played, maybe could have put up a better fight. Maybe. Their guys were no match, but maybe they would have put up a better fight because there's some things that this Cavalier team just have a lot of problems with. And one of them is defense. And for them to handle a team that can put the players on the floor that this team can put on the floor, there's just, you don't like the matchups. You don't like them anywhere. And it makes it very, very tough. Plus, they get very motivated by the side of LeBron James, which I understand. I mean, listen, they've all have their pride. They all want to have their place at the table in the NBA, and they all know that he's the man. So that's why Durant is excited. That's why Curry and Thompson and Green are excited, because they get to play against him. I understand the owner's not too excited. Well, he's beat him a bunch of times, so maybe he's a little bored by the whole thing. And I think overall, the Warriors are a little bored by the whole proceedings. I think it is the case. I think sometimes they play like that too, like they are bored. That it takes a while for them to just get into it and really get the intensity level to a place where, it matters. But now we have it again. It's become obviously old hat. We've seen it. It's starting to rival what the Celtics and the Lakers used to be. But just like those series in the days when it was West and Elgin, before it was Wilt. When it was Wilt, the Celtics mystifyingly won when Wilt was just, he still don't try to explain what happened in those games, a couple of them, especially that Game 7. But the Lakers, when they had Wilt, was a different situation. But before that, you just knew Jerry and Elgin were going to go give it their best, but they were going to lose the series. And now you know that LeBron's going to give it his best, but he's going to lose the series. That's all there is to it. I mean, it would be not only a win for the ages, it would be probably as big an upset as we've seen in many, many years. So, like I said, it starts now with not a great deal of enthusiasm, not a great deal of excitement towards the outcome. I think everyone feels the outcome's a foregone conclusion. Clearly the odds makers do. And unless the Cavaliers can stun the world here this evening and start this off on a good note, which would make it a lot of fun, I'd love to see it happen. I don't have high expectations for it. Like I said when I started, there is more attention right now and more intrigue and more attention being paid to where LeBron will play next year than there is to the finals. And that's a sad commentary for the league. That's not what the league wants. But it clearly is, especially, if you start thinking about the teams that he could maybe put over the top and how that would change things. So, and I'm not, you're talking about Houston and things like that and, stuff along that line. So who knows what happens there. We have a busy show today. Aaron Boone will join us in his regular spot. Buck Showalter, he's going through a very tough season with the Orioles, but the skipper will join us in just a little while. The Orioles in town, weather permitting, but I think they'll get the game in tonight. I think the forecast is to get the game in. We've had some rain. It was raining pretty hard driving in, but I think they'll get the game in this evening. But it has been a very, very tough season for the Orioles so far, and looks like it will be. Buck's had a couple of these. Every time he's had one, though, his team has come back with a vengeance the next season. So that's something to note. Whether he's had one every stop, and every time he's had one, he has come back in a big way the year after. So we'll see if that sets the Orioles up for next year. We'll have to wait and see, especially since we don't know about some of the things going on with their personnel. And we'll have Bill Simmons on the NBA. Bill was trying to get on yesterday. He actually called right at 6. He thought we still had a half hour to go. We usually do, but we were early for the Yankee game, so he had to wait. So he'll be on today, probably right around, I think the last I heard from him a little while ago, he's working today, but he's going to squeeze it in. I think right around 4 o'clock he'll be on. So Buck and Boone and Simmons will have that. Maybe a few other surprises along the way. We'll get to the Yankees. Good win for them last night. Severino has become, without any question, a master of the game at a very young age. Good win for the Yankees last night. The Mets with a very good win. Really came down to a pivotal play. First and third, 1 out. And what could have been a bad inning turned into a very different situation when Rosario, who had a impressive game and has shown you some impressive things, turned an incredible double play with Cabrera that ended the inning. It could have been a run in, a real problem, first and third again, now just down a run, and big problems for the Mets. Instead, the inning was over, and then the game was over right after that. So really a very big play by Rosario, who showed you the leather there, who showed you his speed on the triple he hit last night, has shown you some power in recent days with the ball jumping off his bat. So you've seen speed, you've seen power, you've seen glove work, and that's good to see. He has shown you glimmers of some very good things in these last 10 days or so as he has started to really turn it around. And not a minute too soon for the Mets. So a good win for them as they come home to take on the Cubbies with Lugo on the mound tonight. A weekend set against the Cubbies, the Orioles, and the Yankees in Baltimore this evening. So you got that going on. The Yankees hit the road. They're going to go to Detroit on Monday for that double dip. that they have to make up. So they play a day night. We'll be on in between. They got a 1 o'clock game. We'll be on in between. Then they have the 7 o'clock game. So day night doubleheader in Detroit. Tonight it's Gray on the mound. So we'll talk to the manager in just a couple of minutes. We'll get to all the other things we have to get to, including the NBA Finals and Aaron Boone. So we'll get it all rolling right after this.